Hello and welcome to episode 5 of the We Were Athletes Once podcast. Um, I am Kyle Woodring. I am joined by Koty.
Hey everybody.
Koty just had a really big yawn, and I was really hoping that that was going to be the first thing you guys saw of him.
It
Uh,
wasn't pretty. I could see it.
like as the recording started, that was just closed it at just the right time. But yeah, we are back for episode 5 of this. We haven't quit yet. Uh, we are determined to get better at this. And today we're going to be talking about more baseball. Obviously, today is Friday. We have had some issues with scheduling conflicts and stuff like that. We're trying to figure that out as best we can. And there may be some changes coming up. So, maybe, possibly. So, if we do that, that'll be fun. Um, but yeah, we're still talking about baseball. We're going to be talking about MMA tomorrow and post it at some point a couple hours before the main card starts. But yeah, this week we're talking about uh, what has happened in the past week, and there's been a little bit of movement in the standings. I think for the most part, we're still gonna be talking about the same teams. Um, just to give you guys a little heads up on that. Generally, we're looking at teams within 3 or so games of being in a playoff spot, or they're buyers at the deadline, and so they should be doing well. So like we're just missing out on talking about the Royals. We're just missing out on talking about the Cardinals. Maybe they'll one of those teams will jump up in there at some point soon. But um,
I
yeah,
wouldn't bet on it.
Koty, what would you say? Just your opening thoughts about the past week.
I think that we're continuing to kind of eat our words of what we thought were winners and losers at the deadline. Our two biggest winners are still choking since the deadline. It has not been pretty, and for part of them, it's those deadline acquisitions that look so good have not been performing. So
And one of your
there's some
biggest
teams.
losers is on a 12-game winning streak right now.
I know, the freaking Brewers, man. They just started hitting out of nowhere. So, like I said, you never know what the deadline's going to do. You never know how new players are going to react to new teams. And when teams that haven't hit all year randomly start mashing the ball, that helps. But one of my other losers is not doing so hot in the Cubs. They went from like one back to like 6 or 7 back of the Brewers at this point, and it's not just because of the Brewers' hot streak.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if there's a little bit of movement at some point between those NL Central teams. Not the Brewers. The Brewers, I think, are gone. But we why don't we go ahead and start with the Brewers since they are the best team in baseball right now, which I thought the Brewers were going to be a very good team going into this year. I did not have them as the best team in baseball, 2 10-game winning streaks plus this season. They're currently 76 and 44. They are in first place in the NL Central by 8 games. And since our last episode, you were skeptical on if their 6 game win streak was gonna mean anything, and now that is a 12 game win streak because
Yeah.
they played a series against the Mets, they swept them. They played a series against the Pirates, they swept them, and I don't even have any notes on them on the second series because quite literally everything went right for the Brewers, and every single one of those games were a blowout. It was 7-1, 14-0, 12-5.
Well, it's the Pirates. When was the last time they were relevant, or tried, or spent money, or did anything?
That's fair, but scoring 33 runs in 3 games off of that Pirates pitching rotation is
Yes, they did blow up Skeens that one game. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And something that really stuck out to me over this past week about the Brewers is the fact that it's everyone that's pitching in. Everyone is helping in this thing. Because I was looking at the games against the Mets, and, you know, in the Pirates series, a lot of it was William Contreras. A lot of it was Christian Yelich. It's guys that you'd
Hey,
expect.
and those are the guys that I said. If those are your carriers, if they get hot, they can carry a team, and that's exactly what happened. You need those big guys to get hot to go along with that really good pitching, and you're a legitimate contender.
Yeah, and Wilson Contreras was, I believe, was like really slumping going into the deadline,
William,
and William Contreras, yeah. Uh, we Cody and I just had like an hour long talk about the Cardinals before before we jumped on here, and so I have the wrong Contreras brother in my head. Don't worry, that won't change. I will forever until the end of time call him Wilson. William Contreras was really struggling going into the deadline, and he's been awesome since then. I believe he has like 4 or 5 home runs in the last 6 games. I might be wrong about that because, like I said, I did not take a single note on the Pirates series. Um, but he had, I believe, three just in the Mets series. So like you have your Christian Yelich, you have your William Contreras, that are continuing to be great players for the Brewers. But you also have these role players who are taking their turns at being heroes. Bryce Terang had a big home run in that Mets series. Isaac Collins, I believe, has had a couple big hits throughout that series. Uh, there was a play at the plate in one of these games. I believe it was game 3 of that series. Or no, it was game 1 of that series where Blake Perkins, who is the center fielder for the Brewers, made a huge throw at the plate to nab Starling Marte. Like every single person on this team is doing their job for the most part, and that's scary because the Brewers have been one of the best run teams in baseball for a while, and if they're everyone there is doing their jobs, that could be a problem for everyone in the National League.
yeah, and I just looked at their score of the game currently going on, and they just took the lead, and after two, they were down 8-1, and they just took the lead in the top of the six. Like they scored five, then two, and then one now in the sixth to pull back in, and that's not something we're used to seeing the Brewers doing. They're not a high scoring offense, so when you're hot, you're hot, and right now they've got everybody hot. It's not just one or two guys; their whole team is hitting. Everybody's pitching, except for today, apparently. But man, they look good.
Yeah, and for as a forever Brewers hater, I hope that they are getting hot at the wrong time and they will be cold come October. But it's whenever it's a team like this who is, like I said, one of those teams that always seem like they do everything right. They develop their players really well. They pitch really well. They play defense. They take advantage of when the other teams make a mistake. Just really well. Teams that are coached really well like that, it is really fun to see them perform even when it's a season that you don't really expect them to, even if it's an NL Central rival.
Yeah, and it's not like they have players that are really dislikable or anything. Like they're a bunch of no names for the most part, outside of William Contreras and Christian Yelich. Like this isn't a star powered team. You've got good pitching, got a solid back end, and then you've just got guys that play the game the right way. Um, and honestly, when you're looking at what's going on right now, and especially after the trade deadline, you look at these teams that loaded up with these stars and they're struggling, and then you look at a team that's like, hey, we've just got guys that play the right way. Clearly, that wins baseball games.
Yeah. So, as much as we like to crap on the Brewers and crap on, these teams that we don't necessarily like as much, the Brewers are like I said, the best team in baseball right now. So,
Yeah,
um,
and when it comes to organizations, like you said, they're a well-run organization. I'd put them right up there with the Dodgers and the Tampa Bays that are always building that farm system to keep them relevant, and they're just doing things the right way. So, like, as much as we're Cardinals fans, so we don't like the Brewers. Like, I'm not biased enough to not say that they're a well-run organization. They do a lot of things right that I wish our teams would mimic.
yeah, so it's going to be fun to see them down the stretch. We have about a month and a half left in the season. And it's interesting to see how they handle the rest of the playoffs and what they're going to do in the postseason because I'm pretty sure they're going to start off with one of these lower tiered or one of these lower seeded playoff teams because they're probably going to be, if not the one seed, probably the two seed. And I imagine
Yeah,
they will be the one
I
seed.
think at this point it's going to be hard to catch them, which I didn't think 2 weeks ago. Um, but I think that brings its own problem because over the last several years, how many teams that had that first round bye have even made it out of their first series? So it's something to keep in mind when we watch it. All that rest, typically people are like, man, we get our pitching staff back healthy. We get players that are nicked up some time off. We can set our rotation the way we want it. And then that team that's had to scrap and just get there and win the series that's fresh, um, it doesn't always work out for that higher seed that's had the bye. So it'll be something that's interesting to watch this year because I think it's been like the last 3-4 years ever since we went to this expanded playoffs that those top seeded teams haven't made it out.
Yeah, last year I think was a really different year because I believe the Dodgers and the Yankees were both the
Mm-hmm.
one seed,
Yeah.
and they both made it. But every other year, you're normally seeing wild card teams. Like the year before was the Rangers and the Diamondbacks.
Yep.
Uh, so you know that'll be another interesting thing to see how they handle that time off. Um, yeah, I just got my um, Christian Yelich needs a triple to be the first player ever to hit 4 cycles. Um,
Yeah, he hit the solo shot to put him up.
yeah. So we're gonna move on to the next team on this list, and that's the Philadelphia Phillies. They are currently the 2 seed in the National League right now. If the playoffs were to start today, they're 64 and 56, leading the NL East by 5 games. I didn't mark how
That
far
doesn't sound
behind the
right.
Brewers they are.
That doesn't seem
Uh,
right.
they're ahead of like the head of the Mets by 5 games.
No, their record. I don't think their record was right. They're 69 and 52.
69 and 52. I don't know whose record I have on there then.
Would you say
Um,
65?
64 and 56.
64, 56. Nobody in the NL. The
Okay,
Mets are 64 and 57.
that might be what I was looking at. The Mets might have lost since I did my,
Yeah. Yeah.
which that
They're
makes a lot
they're
of sense.
5 games up on the Mets.
Yeah, so they're
The
69
Phillies have
and
won more than that. We're a little off.
yeah, they're 69 and 52. They're 5 games ahead of the Mets, and doing quick math real quick, I believe that puts them 7-ish games behind the Brewers. Does that sound right?
7.5.
7.5 behind the Brewers. Okay.
Yeah, they're one extra loss.
So yeah, I don't think the Brewers are getting caught, but
I don't
the
think so.
Phillies have had a pretty solid week too. They did just lose their previous series to the Reds. They lost 2 out of 3, but they did sweep the Rangers right before that, and they did have those are two really good teams that they were playing against. Um, Cody, what do you take so far from the Philadelphia Phillies?
I mean, we knew they were going to be good coming in. This is one of those teams that you just pencil. I don't even pencil them in. I would pen them in into a playoff spot every year. They've got the experience, they've got star power, they've got pitching, and like we said at the trade deadline, they filled their biggest holes. They went out and got a bat, maybe not the greatest bat, but they got a really good defender that goes with it, in Harrison Bader, and then. Yon Duran looks like an absolute stud out of that bullpen. He's been filthy. He's been locked down. It's looked great, and so you know their last 10, they're only 6-4. But when the team chasing you goes 1-9 in their last 10, it makes it life a little bit easier for you. So I think the Phillies are just doing what they've been doing all year. They've looked really good. Um, and I think this is a team now that they filled out that bullpen. It makes it a lot easier to see that path to a championship for them.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing that stuck out to me over the past week is that the Brewers, they have their dominant rotation. I believe at almost everyone. I think Aaron Nola might be uh, the only person that didn't have an insane start throughout the past week. I have notes about Christopher Sanchez, Jesus Luzardo, Zach Wheeler, even Taijuan Walker, who's kind of the uh, piece that's sticking out a little bit more in that rotation. Um, but their whole rotation pitches well. They make a lot. They have hitters that you know how to slug. They had a lot of extra base hits throughout the past week. The biggest thing that I struggle with the Phillies every year is their bullpen and their defense. And it seems like they made some moves to shore those up a little bit. Again, like you said, Johan Duran has been one of the best relievers in the league over the past couple weeks, over the past couple years, but especially over the past couple weeks. And I do think having an actual center fielder that can play really good defense, can get big hits when he needs to with Harrison Bader. I do think that was a really good move for the Phillies. And I still struggle to say this is a team that. Do I struggle with it? I don't know. I know the Phillies can compete. They're very capable of competing, and I think with a rotation that deep, you can see them making a deep playoff push.
Yeah, and I think that's
I
the
don't
biggest
know if the
thing.
Phillies are the teams that I would put my money on, though.
I don't necessarily say I put my money on them, but I think anytime you've got a rotation that is that deep, but also that experienced and has been there and done that before, it's hard to not bet on them. Like if we look at these rotations, like yeah, the Dodgers have 72 starting pitchers that are either hurt or coming off of injury, but how many of those guys have pitched legitimate playoff series that have mattered outside of Kershaw? Like you've got a lot of young guys that have just are coming up for the first time, really. Like right now, they're pitching, Emmett Sheehan, who's rookie. You like Sasaki and Yamamoto. Like they're good pitchers, and they've done stuff over in Japan, but they haven't played in the MLB playoffs yet. Like it's a different animal still. So I look at them, and then I look at these other teams, and I'm like, Cubs got nothing. The Brewers have really good pitching, but again, the experience in the playoffs isn't that high with um, who else we got? The Mets. I don't like anything about the Mets right now. It's ugly. Um, the Reds don't have experienced pitching. We'll talk about them in a minute. The Padres. I like their team a lot. Starting pitching is probably my biggest concern going into the playoffs with them. If they can hold up and win them a series where there's guys that can just be locked down and win a game and steal it. And the only team that I see with multiple guys that I see doing that is the Phillies. So I don't know if they're my team that I'd bet on to win it, but it's hard to bet against starting pitching in the playoffs.
Yeah, and it might help me how I feel about them if they can have other guys in that bullpen step up around Johan Duran.
Yeah.
Because I can't make this clear enough how devastating of a loss it is to not have Jose Alvarado in the playoffs. I am going to keep beating that dead horse because people that take steroids at this point are just stupid. They know they're not going to beat any sort of test or get away with it in any way.
No, it's selfish and
Um,
you're screwing your team over.
yeah. So it's like devastating them not having Jose Alvarado. Johan Duran helps a lot, but I think they're going to need, like I said, there's going to need guys to step up around him. And it's not to say they haven't, but
I
We've
think
seen this
you're
before.
underselling this bullpen. Like they've got guys that have been there and done that. Maybe they're not having the greatest seasons, but I look at this team and I'm like, Jordan Romano's not bad. Joe Ross is not my favorite person, so whatever. But like Orion Keckering is a good reliever.
Mhm.
He's just not that household name, but he's been very good this year. They just signed David Robertson, so we'll see what he ends up being. Um, but he's been there and done that. Matt Strom is a good reliever. Um, and then Johan Duran to shut it down. Like, if you can piece just a couple of those together to get you 2 innings, that's all you're going to need. Those starters are going to get you 6 innings at least. And then you have the back end that Johan Duran's coming in the ninth to lock it down. So really, can you gap or fill the gap of the seventh and eighth inning to get them from good starter to stud closer? Because if you can, that's going to be hard to beat.
Yeah, I'm I'm interested to see what this is going to look like. Like I said, I think the Phillies are kind of locked into their spot at this point because I don't know if the Mets are.
No, Mets aren't
I
coming
don't know
back.
what the Mets are doing right
I don't think
now.
the Mets are making the playoffs at this point.
Um,
It's ugly.
yeah, yeah. Um, but someone that isn't locked in their spot. The next team that we're going to talk about, a team that actually just took over their division lead. Um, the San Diego Padres.
Buddy.
They are. Am I correct that they are 69-52, or
That sounds
or something
correct.
along those lines?
They are 69 and 52. That is correct.
Okay,
They're
perfect.
a game up on the Dodgers.
Yeah, 69-52. They're a game up on the Dodgers, and they just went 5-1 over the past week. They took 2 out of 3 from the Red Sox, and they swept the San Francisco Giants.
They're looking
Um,
good.
yeah, they're looking good, and I have a lot of notes about their bullpen because they're back into their bullpen, and it's been a lot of different guys. Like it's been, you know, Mason Miller, it's been Robert Suarez, it's been Adrian Morejon. Jeremiah Estrada has been really good for I don't know how long. You have questions about the rotation because they just got Michael King back. He made a 2 inning start and then he got put straight back on the IL. Um, you know, Dylan
Michael.
Cease is a question mark, but their offense has been firing on all cylinders too. And it's kind of been along those same lines as the Brewers, where it's kind of been a lot of different guys that are really putting up big hits for this Padres team.
Yeah, that offense it's a juggernaut, man. It's good. It's one of those lineups you don't want to face because there's not really any gaps in there for a break. Um, man, I don't know. I think if I had to put money on the NL right now, my bets are for the NL championship is going to be the two teams we just talked about. It's going to be the Padres and Phillies, unless they're somehow playing each other in that second round, because I think those two teams look the best. And one guy you didn't even mention in their bullpen that's been outstanding this year, Jason Adam, man, he's been really good too. Like that bullpen, your starters, like I said, their starters are the things that concern me the most. But honestly, with that bullpen, if you can get through 4 innings, you can bridge the gap. If you can get through 5 or 6, you're locked in. Like that's going to be amazing. But that bullpen, man, whew, you don't want to face it.
Yeah, we talked. I mean,
Lefty,
we talked
righty,
about,
it doesn't matter.
including Adam. We've talked about 5 of the 8 guys that are in their bullpen.
They're
Um,
all been amazing this year.
yeah,
So,
I
and
think they
they're
had
all hot
3
right
All
now.
Stars, and so that's just before the deadline, even before they
And
added
then you
Mason.
add Mason Miller. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, and you even again, there's the guys like Ramon Laureano who he's been
Been
awesome
hitting.
this year. He's been a lot better than I ever expected him to be at this point, just because he's been a guy that's kind of been DFA'd and been, hopping around the past few years. Ryan O'Hearn, I believe, has been pretty good.
It's been okay.
He's been, yeah.
Freddie
Uh,
Fermin's actually been surprisingly good.
Freddie Fermin's been awesome. I think Jose Iglesias, who isn't even playing all that much anymore, even had a big hit. uh, at some point in the Giants series. Like, you know, if you can have guys that are all across this offense that are making these big hits, uh, the Padres can be a scary team, but I've also been tricked into this before because I always put stock in the Padres and I want them to do well, and then
They choke in the playoffs.
they choke in the playoffs. So
Yep.
I'm skeptical, but slightly optimistic about the Padres.
Yeah, and like I said, I really do think it's going to come down to that starting pitching staff for the Padres. If you can get, like I said, 5 strong innings out of them, and you don't put yourself in a giant hole, that bullpen's going to eat up all the innings you can need. Um, I just worry that in the playoffs, it's not going to hold up. So we'll see. Um, but just without Michael King, like again, you don't know what you're going to get out of him. But Nestor Cortez, you can't trust that. It was awful in Milwaukee. No matter what he's doing right now in San Diego, it was so bad that I'm just waiting for it to explode again. Yu Darvish hasn't been Yu Darvish since he's come back from injury. He's had like one good game and he's gotten blown up the rest and didn't go very deep, which basically leaves you with a pitching staff of Nick Pivetta and Dylan Cease. Um, and I just worry because Cease can be the leading strikeout man, but he could also walk 17 in that same time and not be able to hit the zone. So, um, like I said, if they can get just a couple of strong innings out of their pitchers, out of their starters, and that offense is still going like it is, they're still going to be hard to beat. So, I think the Dodgers will have something to say eventually, which we'll talk about them in a second. So I'll wait with my opinion on that, but I don't think the Dodgers are catching the Padres at this point. I know they have lots of games in hand still, so that will be interesting to watch down the stretch as well.
Yeah, and in talking about the Dodgers losing their lead on the division, they're not even the first wild card right now because the
Nope.
Chicago Cubs, uh, I currently have them as the first wild card. And again,
I think
I
they're a
finished.
game up.
Yeah, I finished my research last night, but they are, according to my notes, they're 68 and 52, and they're the first wild card team, 4 games up
They
on.
lost yesterday, so they're 68-53 now.
Okay, so 68 and 53, and I have them as 4 games up on that third wild card spot. So like have 4 games of
Um,
wiggle room.
that should be the Mets, who are 64-57. So the four
Yeah,
up on
four
the
games.
Mets. The Dodgers won yesterday, Cubs lost yesterday, so they're tied at the top of the wild card.
Okay. Yeah, but the Cubs, they are 2-4 over the past week. They haven't been playing very well either. Uh, they're they lost a series against the Cardinals, lost 2 out of 3, lost 2 out of 3 against the Blue Jays. Um, and a lot of it has been their offense has kind of been ran by Michael Bush and Matt Shaw over the past week, and which good for them for the young guys being able to perform, but not a lot of other guys have really been stepping up how they need to.
Yeah, and that's good for Shaw because he's had a rough year. He hasn't looked great at the plate for a lot of the season, and he's been as hot as you can be outside of like Michael Bush, who is he just can't not miss the ball right now, and he's hitting everything with authority. So um, they've been good, and Shaw's been playing some really good defense too. So I don't want to just say it's the bat. His defense has been excellent. It probably won them at least one game against the Cardinals. He definitely saved them in that one, which was disappointing, but it was really good from him and Bush. But like you look at that offense again, and you're like, man, Kyle Tucker's got to do something. Like that's the guy you expect to carry you, and he's not carrying right now. And honestly, he's struggling a lot right now. So We'll see. Not only of that, like if we go back further, they're 3-7 in their last 10. Um, it hasn't been pretty. That lead, the Brewers, like I said, at the deadline, the Brewers were one up. They're 8.5 up on the Cubs now. Yeah, they've been hot, but the Cubs have not been good. And like we said before, this team isn't built to win in the playoffs. They don't have the pitching. They don't have the starting pitching. They don't have the bullpen depth. It's it's a team that's going to squeak in, I think, but it's not a team that's going to win a series. Maybe if they're a wild card, maybe they can get a win, but I don't know. If they're one of those last two, there's a very real chance they don't win that play-in game.
Yeah, and I will give the Cubs a lot of credit that like a lot of these are games they could have won. Like
Yes, that's not like they're
n-
getting blown
like
out.
none of the starters have really been like pitching poorly. Like I believe Cade Horton had a really good start.
They
Matt
need
Boyd
that.
had two pretty good starts that just didn't uh, didn't come out as wins. I believe Boyd got outdueled by Michael McGreevy in Game One of the Cardinals series, and then in the last game against the Blue Jays series, got outdueled by Max Scherzer. Shota Imanaga, he had a really good start in Game Three of that Cardinal series, but Sonny Gray was just a little bit better. Uh, Javier Assad, I believe, was injured. He just came back, so
That'll be helpful for him.
that'll be helpful for him. Um, but their bullpen, I don't even think really has been awful, but they don't have a whole lot in the back end. And like you said, their offense just needs to get better. Kyle Tucker is someone you talked about, but you look up and down this lineup, the Cubs are a team that by name value has a better lineup than what they've been hitting. Like you talked about Kyle Tucker, but PCA hasn't been good. Ian
No,
Happ hasn't been.
he's been about as cold as you can be. He
Yeah,
went from being talked about as being NL MVP to completely out of the conversation at this point.
yeah, he hasn't been good. Ian Happ hasn't been good. Dansby Swanson hasn't been good. Nico Horner hasn't been good. Like
And a
it's
couple of
been,
those guys, you're not looking for those guys to carry you. It's not like they're going to be hitting bombs left and right and putting up the big RBI numbers. But Happ and Horner, those are higher average guys. They should be getting on base, setting the tone for those guys to at least be getting sack flies, sending them home, or giving them a chance to hit one in the gap and scoring. But they're not getting on either. So, like you said, it's not just on Tucker. It's not just on PCA. There's a bunch of other guys that they need to pick up the pace and contribute, and they're not doing it. And it's not rookies; it's veteran players that aren't doing it.
yeah, I do think Miguel Amaya has been pretty good, which is not the name you would expect
No,
from it. But I also don't think you'd expect Michael Bush and Matt Shaw to be the ones that are
I
carried.
don't. I don't know what's gotten into Michael Bush this year, but he looks like a different player, and I hope he goes back to what he was last year. Next year, please. I can't handle any more comments about Bush dominating at Bush Stadium. Like I can't do it anymore. It was so annoying for 3 games. I can't take another year of it. So I need him to
Maybe
come back
if
down to earth.
the Cardinals pitchers would be better than.
Well, he
Uh,
faced like
I think he only had
Michaelis
two. Yeah, he only
and
had
Palante, who's
that
been
one game
struggling.
against Michaelis, because Matt Shaw homered in Game Three, but I don't have a note saying Michael Bush did. And then
No, we've
Game
had
One,
like two or three doubles though.
yeah, and then Game One they got shut out by Michael McGreevy. So it's just my as we got another month and a half of Miles Michaelis, and
Let's go.
it'll be maybe even if that if unless they can convince
No,
whoever's in charge to call up Quinn
no is
Matthews.
not cutting him. There's our
Um,
obligatory "We hate John Mozeliak" comment for the day.
yeah. Uh, so now we have the Dodgers. The Dodgers, they they won a series against the Blue Jays, but then they lost this. They got swept by the Angels,
Yes, they did.
and that's why.
They're like 2-7 against the or no, I think they've lost the 7 straight to the Angels now.
Yeah, I think they got swept in both sides of the
Like they
series that
haven't
they
beat them
have.
since last year or past last year. That's crazy.
Yeah, and that's why like I'm not necessarily confused because that happens sometimes in baseball. Like you play good teams, you play well, you play bad teams, you
You play
don't.
down to competition.
Yeah. Um but they can't be doing that with how good the Padres have been, and I don't think it's going to necessarily like take them out of the playoffs by any means. They're still 3.5 up from uh, that third wild card spot. They're playing better than the Cubs are. They're playing better than the Mets are. But it's a little jarring seeing this team that was supposed to be this juggernaut being looked at as the second wild card team right now.
I love it. I love
Um,
seeing teams that spend excessive amounts of money to buy anyone they want not win. It makes me happy. But with it, I don't know what's going on in LA, but I don't know how. Like something's got to give. Like when you have this many pitchers this injured every single year for the last several years, you're doing something wrong, and it needs to change. Like I don't know what their program looks like. I don't know what their rehab looks like. I don't know what they're doing in the off season, but something isn't going right. And if it doesn't change, they're going to keep doing this because they can't keep anyone healthy. There's just something that has to be going wrong there. And I think that's killing them because you're pitching, like, luckily, you have a great farm system that can produce 8 million different pitchers. So you're not like dropping the ball a ton. But, when you're not pitching Kershaw, Sasaki, Yamamoto, Snell, who am I missing?
Glass now,
Glass
Otani.
now.
Uh,
Like, you've got like seven legitimate top three pitchers on any other team, and you can't keep five of them healthy. You can't keep four or three of them healthy half the time. Like something has to change there. And that offense is usually pretty good, but it's been a little quieter recently. Um, and when you've got that many names and that much pop, it's hard to see a team go completely cold. Um, but they just haven't been finding ways to win in these games. They've been finding ways to lose.
yeah, I look at the last week, and basically what's happened in every game is the starter goes 4 to 6 innings and he's fine. Like, I see Emmett Sheehan a start against the Angels, 5 runs in 5 innings. Shohei Otani in the last game against the Angels, 4 runs in 4 and a third innings. It's kind of been starts like that, but the bullpen has not been good either. Like I have 4 of the last 6 games, their bullpen has had a lead at some point and then they blew it.
Well, yeah,
Um,
and they just lost Brock Stewart, who they brought back in the trade. So
yeah,
their bullpen reinforcements have kind of gone down the drain. Now, will they stick some of these guys that have been starting for them in the bullpen when September rolls around? Like, are we going to see them get healthy, or are we going to see some of their guys get back and be like, hey, we're going to throw them in the pen, and you're just going to have nasty starter stuff out of the pen because it needs help? I don't know what they're going to do, but it's looking a little rough right now. But again, this is a team. If their pitching gets healthy and it looks like what they typically have done in their career, it's a really good pitching staff. If their batters are batting just average for them, this is an offense that's right up there with San Diego. Like there's not a hole in this lineup when they're hitting.
yeah. I mean, they haven't really been hitting that well though, too. Like you said, like Shohei has been really good, but outside of that, it's been like I think they've been fine. I think Mookie Betts has kind of been pretty rough actually.
He has not been great.
I think his OPS right now is like under 700.
Ouch.
Um,
I can check
but
it.
or maybe in the last couple weeks or something like
No,
that.
his OPS for the season is 682.
Yeah, that's about what I saw.
He's
So,
slugging 370.
and it's almost like it was a bad idea to have a guy that's been playing right field his whole career learn a completely new position. It's wild. I wouldn't have expected that. Um, but
Don't
Yeah,
worry, they'll trade for Brendan Donovan and put him back out there.
well, they already have they have Brendan Donovan 1.0, which is
Yeah,
Tommy.
which is why they're going to get 2.0.
Um, Also, when you're talking about the pitchers, I was thinking like, you remember when Tony Gonsolin won Rookie of the Year or almost won Rookie of the Year?
Yeah,
I was
and
like, what?
now isn't he out for the season?
Yeah, I was about to be like, well, Tony Gonsolin will step into that
No, not
relief
this
role.
year. He just went out.
Yeah, he had the internal brace surgery, so I don't know. The Dodgers are still the Dodgers. They have a lot of good things going for them, but like they're they haven't been playing good baseball over the
Yeah,
past
like even
couple
like
weeks.
Alex Vesia, Blake Trinan, they've been blowing saves, not getting their holds. Like it's been late game leads. Now that I'm looking more deeply into it, besides just the external numbers, it's it's been a little rough. They did get
Yeah,
Max Muncy back, and he was mashing for a little bit. So
yeah. I think he had a couple big home runs over the past over the past week. But you know who's been even worse than the Dodgers?
the Mets,
The New York Mets. Um,
trash.
on my notes, I have them as 64 and 56. I believe
Um,
you said they lost another game.
yeah,
So
it hasn't been good.
yeah, 64 and 57. In the last two series, they got swept by the Brewers and then lost 2 out of 3 against the Braves.
And the
Um,
Braves are bad.
yeah, their offense has actually been pretty good over the past few weeks. Pete Alonso has been mashing. I know you don't like that, but he recently broke the record for home runs by a Met.
Yeah,
Um,
he's a big, strong guy that can't take out a tiny little first base coach. So
hey, Stubby's strong.
yeah, he
Uh,
can't take out a first base coach named Stubby Clapp, who's
this
like a
was
tenth of
4
his
years
size.
ago too.
I don't care. Screw Pete Alonso. You go big, strong guy yourself somewhere else. That's why the Mets didn't want to sign you to a multi-year deal.
Yeah. Looking at their offense, though, Pete Alonso's been really good. Juan Soto's been really good. Francisco Alvarez has had big hits. Lindor has been struggling for a little bit, I believe, but he's had his moments over the past series. Um, but their pitching staff has not been good.
It has been
Uh,
bad, and not
and
even like a little bad. They've been atrocious.
yeah, I mean, what was their? I mean, they made a bunch of errors against the Brewers that they end up taking advantage of. They had a game where William Contreras hit a game-tying home run, I believe, off Ryan Helsley in the ninth, and then in the 10th, Isaac Collins hit that walk-off single against Edwin Diaz. So they're back
Diaz
in
has
the
blown a
rotation.
couple. Diaz has
Yeah,
blown a couple, and outside of the first game, Helsley does not look good.
yeah, and then you go to the Brave series. Clay Holmes was bad, but the bullpen ended up pitching pretty well actually in that game, and it was also a game that hit 6 home runs. Um,
Did Carrasco pitch in that? Oh,
I don't know. I didn't.
but he got DFA'd. That's how bad he's been since he got traded to
Oh, Carrasco got
Atlanta.
DFA'd.
Carrasco got DFA'd the other day.
Oh, I haven't even been making notes on the Braves because
Fetty might get DFA'd. Like Braves fans want every starter they have right now, basically outside of Strider, to be DFA'd. They're like, you
yeah,
can't DFA Fetty. You got to DFA this other guy first. I'm like, that guy's not that old. Give him a chance. They're like, nope, get him out of here. Like they're up in arms in Atlanta about this starting pitching, which you're not winning anyway. So calm down. Like this is not your year. Let it go. You're just trying to survive this year. Um, but yeah, that pitching's bad, and to be able to beat the Mets multiple times when you're been struggling and you're in the playoff hunt and you're trying to fend off teams to take that last wild card, that's not a good look.
yeah. Game one of that series, they won 13-5. Clay Holmes was bad, but the bullpen was good, and then they hit 6 home runs and 3 doubles in that game. Game two, everyone that pitched was bad. Peterson, Garrett, and Blackburn gave up 11 runs between them, and they wasted a game where they had a bunch of extra base hits. And then game three was they had a lead late in the game. Ryan Helsley blew it, and their only extra base hit was a Lindor homer. So, like, they've been finding, like, their offense has been really good. Their bullpen has been bad. Their rotation has been bad. Like,
I can't wait to watch Juan Soto shimmy shake his way to his vacation when they're out of the playoffs because they ain't making it because your team sucks right now. Screw you, Juan Soto.
Cody just hates everyone on the Mets. He hates Pete Alonso. He hates Juan Soto. He hates Ryan
That's it.
Helsley. He hates.
No, I don't hate Ryan Helsley. I said
But
I
you
would
want him
gladly
back
welcome him back on a contract that wasn't excessive.
on
But I
13 million a
don't
year,
like
which you know
Soto,
he's not
and
going
I don't like freaking big strong guy. You can go somewhere.
to. And then right on their tail, which they
Out
weren't
of
right on their
nowhere,
tail
baby.
last
Let's
night.
go.
The Cincinnati Reds went 4-3 over the past week. They played 7 games as of last night. They split a series against the Pirates. They won the series against the Phillies, and their pitching has carried them because their offense outside of Miguel Andujar has been non-existent, but they've still been winning games.
Let's go Reds. I didn't think I'd ever say that, but I want them to beat the Mets so very badly right now and take that last wild card spot. Like I said at the deadline, this was one of the teams that I said I know it wasn't a ton, but for them, buying was a big deal, and we're seeing it come to fruition. I know Key Brian Hayes is not a great hitter, but he's made some awesome defensive plays to
Not
save
a good hitter.
multiple runs. Huh?
Not a good hitter.
No, not in the
Not
slightest.
you said not a
But
great hitter. Good
oh no,
hitter.
not a
Terrible
good
hitter.
hitter. You're right. He's not a good hitter. But his play at third has definitely made up for it because he saved runs, multiple runs that won them some games, and they were some phenomenal plays that I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if anyone in the league makes other than him at this point. Um, it looked really good. So I liked, seeing them buy. Like I said, it's good for baseball to see some of these smaller teams that don't normally buy, and they're being rewarded for it. The Mets have been awful. They've been playing solid. They're just inching closer and closer, and they're only a half game out right now. So I would like to see them come back and beat the Brewers and end the streak today so that they could be tied up or past the Mets, depending on how the rest of the night goes.
Yeah, and like I said, this pitching staff is a staff that's really good. Uh, I think Brady Singer had a bad start, but outside of that, he also had a good one.
Yeah.
Andrew Abbott's been really good. Hunter Green's been really good. Chase Burns had a good uh, a good start in that stretch. Like they have guys in this rotation that can give teams fits. Um, they need to be able to hit. And that's my thing. Like I like the fact that the Reds were aggressive and they went and they bought. I would have liked them to get someone that can actually hit. They got Miguel Andujar, who's been hitting really well, but I would have liked them to go get a big piece that is capable of carrying an offense.
Yeah, and it just
And
sucks.
I
Like,
don't think
looking at a game like today, like they put up 8 runs and they're probably going to waste it because they had a bad pitching outing. And it hasn't happened very much the last couple of weeks. Like you said, the pitching's carried them, and it just stinks
I
to
don't
see
think
a
their
game where
bullpen's
they.
been great either.
No, it just stinks when they finally do put a game together that ends up happening to them. Um, but you know, Spencer Steer's somebody who can hit if he starts getting hot. I think he's having a good game tonight. We know what Ellie can do as long as he actually makes contact with the baseball, which he's not amazing at doing all the time. And Duhar, again, another night where he's got multiple hits today. Even Gavin Lux has looked pretty decent recently. He's starting to make a little bit of an impact. But outside of that, like, Brian Hayes isn't great. Tyler Stevenson's not great. Novelli Marte has been meh. Austin Hayes isn't great. TJ Friedl's a leadoff guy that's okay. Like,
He's a defense first
yeah,
outfielder.
there's just not a lot there. Like, you better hope Ellie gets on fire to try and carry you because this isn't a team that's just gonna pick each other up, and that's the struggle with them. Um, so I like the story of a small team that hasn't done a lot lately going out and having a soft bye, um, and making a little bit of a run. I'd like to see them finish it off and take out a team that's willing to spend about as much as humanly possible and still struggle. So I'm rooting for the Reds, even as an NL Central person who doesn't like the Reds and hates Brandon Phillips. I'll still root for him.
Yeah, I hope this season is a catalyst for them to go out and do something in the off season. Maybe they go out and they spend on Pete Alonso, or they go spend on some other. I can't think of who is. Yeah, I know the thought of Pete Alonso in a Reds jersey is
Brandon Phillips 2.0.
make make you hate him even more.
Tubby Clap's going to have
Um,
to take him out how many times a year?
just 13 now. Um, or I can't even think of who else is a free agent. Bo Bichette, I believe he's still a free
Yeah, he's a
agent at the end of the
Bo
season.
Bichette, and it doesn't sound like the Blue Jays are necessarily going to sign him. How big do they want to go? Do they want to go $500 million big and go after Kyle Tucker?
I think they need to go as big as
Their
they need
ownership
to
will
go
let it
big.
go.
I don't. I'm not going to tell them how big they need to go because I'm glad they're doing something, but they need to go big because I don't see this. I still don't see this team making the playoffs
No.
because I think the Mets have more talent. I just don't think that talent has been showing. I think
No,
the
and you're
Mets.
right. Like if the Mets figure it out at all, yeah, if the Mets figure it out at all, like they are a much better team than the Reds. Like if they get it together, they're gonna pull away from them. Like I don't necessarily like I wouldn't definitely not put money on the Reds passing the Mets for the final wild card spot. That's more of me just hoping as a Mets hater, that they do. But again, like you said, like this rotation's good. If they were willing to be like, man, we finally have a chance. Let's splurge a little bit this offseason and go get some bats to complement this. Um, Bo Bichette's probably available. Alex Bregman could opt out. I don't think he will. Like it's hard turning down $40 and $45 million, whatever. I think that's what's left on his last 2 years of that deal. I don't think you're getting a better contract than that. And Boston started to play well, so he looks pretty good. I don't necessarily think he'll opt out. Um, it's sad when
Just
you're
make
looking at a
a
list
big
of
splash. I don't know who. I don't care who, but
and it might not necessarily
do
need to be.
something. Do something that make fans say, "Oh, the Reds are legit," because
I
they
don't
haven't
think
done
they will
that.
do that.
They haven't done that in my lifetime. They had Joey Votto, but they drafted Joey Votto.
Yeah,
They had Brandon
I
Phillips,
mean,
but they traded him when he was
the
nothing.
closest thing that they did to that would be when they went and gave Nick Castellanos big money, which I don't like him. So that was whatever. He can't play the outfield. But I
Depending on
don't.
the season, if he can hit.
I don't think they necessarily need to make a huge splash. I think they need to go get multiple pieces. Like, okay, cool, you got Kyle Tucker. Now you have two people that can hit. Like,
I think they
instead
need to
of
make
doing that,
a big splash and get another like complimentary piece or two.
but what if
This
they go
offense is
out and
bad.
they, but what if they go out and they get like a Marcelo Zuna, who is gonna be your DH if you do that. But there's some pop there, and it's Great American Small Park, so there's something. Or maybe they bring back Eugenio Suarez, which older player, so it's not going to be as huge of a cap hit. I mean, it might be a big cap hit shorter time, but you don't have to invest quite as much into him. Or you go get somebody like, maybe you want a Gleyber or a Carlos Santana. Like, you're not going to get these huge names, but you're going to get several pieces that can hit so that this lineup becomes a little bit longer. That's the thing. You get through like the first three batters, and there's nothing else there. Like, oh, cool, we fear Ellie. Well, he strikes out a bunch, so we can kind of throw around the zone. Okay, Miguel Andujar's hitting right now. Cool, we'll bring him back, and that'll be a solid piece for us. But you got to go get more pieces. You can't just say, I'm going to spend all of our money that we more than we'd ever spent on an entire lineup in Kyle Tucker when you have so many open pieces that you can look at. I don't even like Pete Alonso. I think it's going to cost too much.
Well, I
Kyle
don't think Pete
Schwarber's going to be
Alonso.
available.
I don't think Pete Alonso or Bo Bichette is. I'm not saying they need to go get Kyle Tucker. I think Pete Alonso. I mean, a 5-year, $100 million deal. I think they can do that. Bo Bichette.
I don't think
He's
I don't think
probably
Pete Alonso would go there for
around.
that though. That's the thing.
I think he'll go anywhere that will give him a long-term deal.
I don't think he will.
Money.
Schwarber's going to be available. I don't see him leaving necessarily. You're not getting Kyle Tucker, Isaiah Kiner Falefa. Like it's not a great
He's another
class.
piece that the Reds have.
I'm like, it's not a great class of hitters. Like, I think at this point, like, you might have to, if you want to do something like this, you're going to have to sell from a strength and you might have to trade a young pitcher. It might not be someone in your rotation right now, but you might have to sell off one of these higher upside prospects that you've got sitting there if you want to go get a legit bat that they don't really have a choice if they're coming there or not. That's probably going to be on a really good contract. Or it might be a pitching prospect for a highly regarded hitting prospect, one of those types of swaps. But I think you have to go get multiple mid-level pieces that are all bats so that you can lengthen this lineup and at least give yourself a chance. Because I don't think they're going to draw those big name splashes. Plus, I just don't think there's that many out there to go get.
Yeah, I do think at the end of the day we disagree on how they need to do it, but we agree the Reds need offense, and I mean,
Desperately.
good on them for going and buying and getting Brian Hayes and getting Miguel Andujar, but like you need more. But we can go ahead and move on to the American League, and the American League is currently being ran by the Toronto Blue Jays. They are currently the 1 seed in the AL. They are 71-51, and they are 5 games ahead of second place in the AL East. They're currently 3-3. They lost the series to the Dodgers, but then they won the series against the Cubs. 3-3 in the last week, I should say. What do you have on the Toronto Blue Jays?
I think this all started this off season to kind of set this up. Like, this off season was kind of a make or break one for them with Vladdy, and it looks like for a while they were going to trade him. That they couldn't get a deal done, that he was going to get out, and they were going to be like, hey, we can't let him go for nothing. Let's sell him off for a haul. And they stepped up. They gave him the contract that he was looking for, and he kept the face there in Toronto. And I think because of that, it was really a stepping stone for him to be like, hey, this is something that we want to do. We're a legit contender, and we want to make a push. And I think a lot of their players have stepped up and done that. Trying to look through, like, I mean, it's a very, I feel like, underrated pitching staff. And I think that's why they're running the table here. They've got enough hitting. I would like to see them get one or two like complementary pieces. But if I look at this pitching staff, we've talked about this in a past episode. They're not legit aces anymore, some of them. But man, this pitching staff is deep. They roll 5 really good pitchers. And so I think that pitching is going to carry them. And I think eh, with the way the Tigers are going and the rest of the AL looks, I think they're far enough ahead that they're going to end up getting that 1 seed and winning the AL. That's it's just a strong. It's just such a strong pitching rotation that I think for a regular season, that's plenty to carry them to that.
Yeah, and they're doing this without Shane Bieber. He was their
Yeah, and
big
when you get him, that could be a legit ace.
Yeah, he was their big deadline acquisition, and he still hasn't pitched for him. You look at the rest of the rotation. I mean, Kevin Gossman's a guy that you trust any day of the week. Max Scherzer has pitched really well over the past few weeks. Jose Barrios, he's up and down, but you like him as your four. And then Chris Bassett, who's a proven big league starter. So, I mean, this is a really strong rotation, and over the past week, especially, and this is going to be a trend with these teams that are higher up, is the role players who you don't necessarily expect to be the hero. These teams that are really performing well and are, these higher seeds right now in the playoff picture, they're getting performances from that. Ernie Clement has had 2 big homers over the past week. Dalton Varsho, who's one of the best defenders in the league, and you kind of just have him for that. He,
Did
had
he just
some
get
big
hurt?
hits every now and again. Huh?
Did he just get hurt?
I don't know. I know he hit a home run against the Cubs, but I don't know if he got hurt or not. Um, but Addison Barger is another guy who
Maybe not.
he's had his big hits. I mean, they have a lot of guys who are capable of stepping up when they need to. And you have guys like Vladdy and you have guys like Bo Bichette that you don't really expect them to need to step up that much. But through a 162 game season and through a playoff grind, having those guys like that, they're going to need to step up at some point. And being able to do that, again, is I think what separates the elite teams from the good teams.
Yeah, I like what they do. They've got enough there that if some of those complementary pieces keep doing what they're doing, they can be a dangerous team. I do question getting into the playoffs, pitching in general. Can Scherzer give you him of the past and steal you a game, pitch deep? Can those other guys help lead the way? Like, obviously, Kevin Gausman's been a very good pitcher, and you trust him. Is Shane Bieber going to be back? If he is, how does he look? Because that can be a guy that can be a legit carrier. Um, Again, Chris Bassett, Jose Barrios, both solid. You can piece that together if you need to. But if those three first guys, Gausman, Bieber, and Scherzer, can be legit starters of what they looked like in the past, and you get a little bit of offense, that can be a very good team. But again, that starting pitching might not be able to carry like that, and that bullpen really concerns me.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the biggest question that I have with them. Um, I would like a better closer than Jeff Hoffman. I think he's a good bullpen piece, but I don't know if he's necessarily the closer that you want to be able to rely on
Yeah.
in a playoff push. Sir Anthony Dominguez has been kind of up and down since his trade. I like Louis Varland, but he also, over the past few years, has kind of been up and down. Um, you know, you'd like more consistency from this bullpen, or at least like someone that pops out to you. But the Blue Jays are the 1 seed right now, and they're not. Again, they weren't a team that I think people necessarily expected them to be able to do that. So
No,
good
no,
for them.
everyone looked at this to be a year that the Yankees were going to kind of run away with the division, I think. And
The
injuries
Yankees
and
and the Red Sox.
yeah, and inconsistent play has hurt them. And honestly, this is a team that if they just keep playing like they've been playing, they're going to be fine. But they're also a team that if starting pitching can't carry them through the regular season, um, I think Boston can make a run with how they're playing right now.
Yeah, and even this next team that we're talking about, the Detroit Tigers, who they won't knock the Detroit Tigers won't knock them out of the playoffs or knock them
No.
uh, out of the playoff picture in any way, but they're trying to get that title back as the best team in the American League, and right now they're 70-52. They're only a game back from the Blue Jays, and they won their last two series. Granted, it's two series against teams that you don't necessarily expect to be able to beat the Tigers. They took 2 out of 3 from the Angels. They took 2 out of 3 from the White Sox. But if you can go 4-2 every 6 games, like that's
Yeah,
that's
and you
best case
can't sleep
scenario.
on the Angels right now. They've been playing good baseball. They just swept the Dodgers. They've looked good in the past series before then. So it's not like the Angels are a team you can just chalk up wins for. But it also doesn't hurt. You're playing the Twins now. And looking at the score, they're up 7-0 in the fourth inning. So the Twins basically are a AAA roster at this point. So you expect to win that series. You should expect to hopefully sweep that series if you're a playoff team, especially one of the top teams in the division, looking to climb back into that top spot. But again, this is just a team that I don't know. Tarek Skubal can carry. He can steal you games, but he's only one guy. What is the rest of the staff going to be doing? What's that bullpen going to be doing? Because they're not striking anybody out. Um, they haven't been hitting recently. They finally started picking it up. Um, so, hopefully this means they're getting back on track and they're going to start looking like the Tigers of earlier in the season, because that's similar to the Reds. Like that's a team that hasn't won in a long time, and I think it's good for baseball with some of these teams that haven't been relevant in a while, to wake those fan bases up and to get them excited about playoff baseball again.
Yeah, was Kyle Finnegan the closer for them over the past over the first week with the team? Because they've had Will Vest lately as their closer.
I think it
So I don't know.
was. I thought it was Finnegan.
Say that was just over the
I'll
last week. He
I'm gonna
has two
pull up.
saves over the past week. Uh, so maybe they made a change at the closer spot for them. Um, he has 18 saves throughout this year. So if he wasn't, he was definitely the closer before Finnegan got there. But yeah, I think with the Tigers, I could basically just copy and paste everything that I said last week and say the same thing about them this week. They're a really good team, and they have the best pitcher in baseball. Everything behind him scares me. Chris Paddock's been pitching well. Um, Charlie Morton has kind of had some up and down starts. Jack Flaherty has not been pitching well. And Casey Mize has been pitching well. So, you kind of have a mixed bag with that rotation. Their bullpen, I mean, again, you'd like something better than, you know, maybe not better, but something that scares you a little bit more than Tommy Kahnle, Tyler Holton, and Kyle Finnegan. Um,
Yeah,
I believe.
Finnegan has pitched 6.6 2/3 innings and has only given up one hit and has three saves. So it looks like they've kind of been doing a little bit of
Okay.
playing the numbers type of game with the back end of their bullpen.
Yeah, I'm looking
But
at Tommy
that's
Kahnle.
that's another one I have to eat my words because I didn't like that acquisition. I didn't like anything about the Tigers' acquisitions. It was a lot of mediocre. But Finnegan's been good for him, and he's actually struck some people out. I mean, it's 6 2/3 innings, and he has 8 strikeouts. So take it for what it is early on. But he's striking out a lot more people than he did when he was with Washington. So maybe change of scenery is all he needed.
Yeah, I don't know. When it comes to the Tigers, I liked the Kyle Finnegan move because I know he was an All Star last year, and I know what he's capable of, and he hasn't shown it over the last half of last year and the first half of this year. But I do think this move is something that's really helped him and something that's really helped the team.
Yeah,
So
I think my big issue with all of it is you're last or second to last in bullpen strikeouts, and like the biggest thing we talk about in the playoffs is how you need to have swing and miss stuff in the playoffs, especially out of your late inning guys to lock down games, and they didn't go get a swing and miss pitcher. So it's not that I don't like Kyle Finnegan. I think he was fine. I just think that if you are a team that at the deadline are in first place and your biggest weakness is swing and miss stuff in the bullpen, you have to go bigger than that. So if you get Kyle
yeah,
Finnegan,
so
fine, but I would have
when
liked
it
to
comes,
go and get one more guy.
yeah, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of the whole thing. Is I think they're relying on Tarek Skubal to
Too
carry
much.
them more than one pitcher is capable of doing. So it's going to be interesting to see how the playoffs go for them, how the rest of this season goes for them, where they're going to end up in this playoff picture. But I want to go ahead and move on to the Houston Astros. They are currently the AL West leader, and they're currently the 3 seed. But they do have a team around around their heels. But the Astros are 68 and 53, leading the AL West by a game and a half, and they're 4-2 over the past 6 games. And it's I do think uh, it helps them a lot the fact that they won those series against the Yankees, who their bullpen
Struggle.
has not
Imported.
been good. But they also in that third game of that series had Jason Alexander going 6 innings and only gave up 1 hit. Um, they have I don't know, they have the Tigers and the Astros for me are kind of the same thing to where, we talked about a lot of their pieces and we talked about the fact that they have Hunter Brown. They have Framber Valdez. Even the back end of the rotation has been good for the most part with Arrighetti and Javier. Right now, Josh Hader's hurt, so they have Brian Abreu closing games, and that
Yeah, that
doesn't.
definitely hurts them.
Yeah. Um, but I don't know what how I know you. How are you feeling about the Astros right now?
Um, Bullpen worries me, especially without Hater. Anytime you take an elite closer out of the fold, it's not going to help you, especially in the playoffs.
I believe they
Um,
also just DFA'd Hector Neris too.
well, they also DFA'd Presley a couple weeks ago too, so it's been a little interest. Actually, no. Did Presley go to the Cubs this year?
Yeah, Presley's on the
Okay,
Cubs.
year before he was with the Astros. I just saw he got DFA'd. Um, I just think it's a bullpen that's kind of in flux right now. So I just don't know what they are. But it doesn't hurt that again trade that I didn't like. So deadline reactions not looking amazing right now. That Carlos Correa is hitting 364 with a 974 OPS. Um, so if that starting pitching can hold up, which I do like a lot of those pieces, um, and the hitting stays the way that it is, they've got enough bats. Is Jordan back yet? Is he going to be back at all this season? I can't even.
He's not currently. Uh,
No, he's not back yet.
yeah,
Um, so again, like I think that's a big deal. If they get Jordan back this year and he looks decent or anything like he has in the past, um, I mean, you're bringing one of the best hitters in baseball back into this lineup that's already hitting pretty decent right now. I think that would be a huge deal. So I think it kind of comes down to what does that back end of the bullpen look like? Can they get healthy? Does the starting pitching keep holding up? Which I think for the most part it will. And can you get Jordan back?
Brian McTaggart tweeted at 3 o'clock on August 13th that Jordan is taking live BP at West Palm Beach. So that's at their spring training facility.
Spring training, yeah.
So he's taking steps towards returning, but I don't know if he's particularly close just yet.
Yeah. And I don't think we will until he's about to be back. Or they shut him down, one or the other.
Yeah, I think the thing with that though is again, I think the Astros are kind of at a point to where I don't know if they necessarily need to. I mean, they're I guess they're not necessarily one of these teams that have the playoffs locked up. So having him back would definitely help. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I I still think the Astros are one of the best teams in the American League, with or without him. And so when they have him, I think that's going to be dangerous in the playoffs. And I would bet on the Astros to probably win a playoff series. Um, but I don't know.
It also helps that out of all the remaining games of the season, the Astros have the easiest schedule. Um, they play Toronto, Detroit, Seattle, New York, and Texas twice. Those are their hardest remaining games. But they also play Colorado, Atlanta, the Athletics, Baltimore multiple times, the Angels multiple times. Like they've got a very winnable schedule, and I think that helps them, especially when you're looking at who's trying to catch them, which is Seattle. And Seattle's got a lot of those similar teams, um, but they also will play Cleveland, the Mets, obviously Houston, LA, San Diego, Philly. It's a much harder schedule. And when you're trying to catch a team and the schedule's skewed that much, it can be hard to make up that difference. So I want to say Seattle's going to catch Houston, but I just think with the strength schedule and who they have left to play, I think the Astros probably end up holding them off. Now,
Yeah,
I
and
don't necessarily think that they're going to catch the other two. I think Detroit, as long as they play average, is going to stay ahead of them, and I don't think anyone's catching Tampa right now.
Toronto.
Or Toronto, sorry.
Yeah, I think Toronto and Detroit are kind of locked in the 1-2. We can go ahead and talk about the Mariners too while we're here. The Mariners are the first wild card team right now. They're 2.5 games ahead of that third wild card spot. They're a game and a half back of the Astros. They're 4-2, and they've been doing it basically exactly how you'd expect them to do it, and that has been through pitching and through hitting home runs, specifically from Cal Raleigh.
Big
Um,
Dumper, there's my MVP. Still calling it.
Cal Raleigh has hit 3 home runs over the past 6 games. He hit another one today, actually, so he's currently at 46. But they've throughout the past 6 games, Julio's hit a couple homers. I believe Josh Naylor's hit a couple homers. I believe most of their runs have been scored off of hitting home runs.
You know who hasn't been hitting?
Eugenio Suarez.
That's right. Called that one.
Uh, yeah.
How can you not love Cal Raleigh? How can
I
you not love this guy?
I love Cal Raleigh. I still
It's
think Cal Raleigh should win the MVP.
gonna win it.
I think it's a tough
Keep
sell.
writing it down.
I
Cal
think it's
Raleigh MVP.
I think it's a tough sell to these baseball writers that love these
New
big
York.
market teams.
Here's the thing. On top of Cal Raleigh being the best hitter in the AL, that power, him basically putting a Seattle team on his
Not the
back.
best hitter in the AL. He's best power hitter in the AL.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Best power hitter in the AL. This Seattle team
That's still
wasn't
hitting
hitting.
250.
Yeah, and launching nukes, and that's all that matters. Um, but if we're being real, like early on in the season, Seattle hasn't put up runs. Kyle Raleigh put that team on his back along with that pitching staff and carried them into this spot. And on top of that, he's doing it at the catcher position. I don't care what anyone says. Catcher is the hardest, most important position to play. They need that leader there, and he has done it from that position. I don't care what the numbers look like with other guys. If they're even remotely close, Cal Raleigh is the MVP, and I'm still saying, mark it down, Cal Raleigh is the AL MVP, as long as he gets to 49 home runs, which he will.
Which he will. Like I said, we're at the time of this recording, we're August 15th.
Where we got like 40 to 42 games left, and he needs
He's 2 home runs behind the record.
He's going to have like 55 at the end of this, and he's going to walk away with it.
I still think he might hit 60.
Which would be insane. I hope he does, so no one can say anything. Cal Raleigh is the MVP. Those of you in our comments saying otherwise, you're wrong. Cal Raleigh, I will stand by him. Keep commenting, though. I love the debate.
Yeah, please do. I've seen quite a few comments on our videos, and some of them have agreed. Some of them are our friends that just love us and have been saying goated podcasts and all that stuff. And some of them are actually people we don't know, which is awesome.
And some of them are me coming on my personal account to yell at Kyle and Randall on football ones about how they're wrong for all this Shador love.
I've just not been saying he's complete.
I'm going to take my shots when I got him. So come argue with us. We love it.
Yeah. When it comes to the Mariners, though, I would like to see a little bit more diversity in their offense. Because I don't know, have the Mariners been on the road the whole time that they've this whole past week? Or have they been hitting the home runs at whatever their stadium name is now? I hate the fact that they keep changing these stadium names. By the way,
it kills me. I don't know what anything's called anymore. What is their stadium called now?
I'm probably gonna keep calling it T-Mobile, but I know it's something different now. I'm trying to find where they were in their last couple games.
I don't know, but they're beating the Mets in the 9th inning right now.
Yeah, that helps.
Makes me happy.
Yeah, if like I said in our trade deadline episode, the Mariners learned that you need to score runs to win games, and you can't rely on just having a great pitching staff. And they do have a great pitching staff, and I think it's a pitching staff that can get them through the postseason if they can hit. So
they were playing at Cleveland, and
last week they played against the Rays and the Orioles.
Didn't they just finish a series against Cleveland? I'm looking at the wrong thing here.
I think you are.
They played at Baltimore. I know that.
I think they played at Tampa too. I don't know. I was still in the Astros.
The Rays. My phone is dead. Hold on.
Oh, that's fun. Regardless, good on them for learning they need to score runs. They've been scoring runs. It seems like a lot of their runs are going to be either by the long ball or by who probably should be their leadoff hitter right now, Josh Naylor. Just getting on base and stealing.
Galore, baby.
Yeah, 3% sprint speed, by the way, according to Statcast, and he has 11 stolen bases.
I thought I saw he had 13. I'm like, that's insane.
He might. Last time I checked, he had 11. He might have 13 at this point.
They played at Baltimore. Tampa was at home, so they were playing in their own ballpark there.
Okay.
White Sox was at home. Rangers was at home. So outside of Baltimore, they have been at home.
Okay, so they have been hitting at home too, which is fun.
But they're in New York now, and then they'll be in Philly also.
But yeah, that's what they need to do. They need to put Josh Naylor in the leadoff spot, and they need to let these power guys drive him in. But yeah,
and they need to move Eugenio Suarez to the bench. 'Cause that dude is not hitting. He's hitting a buck 25 with a 381 OPS.
We're learning all the players that Cody just hates. Cody
Bench.
Eugenio Suarez too for some reason.
I don't know. That's not at all. I don't dislike Eugenio Suarez. I said at the trade deadline, I don't like Seattle bringing him back when he was terrible in Seattle. He is great everywhere else he's gone. Great with the Reds. Great with Arizona. Was terrible hitter in Seattle. Comes back to Seattle, what happens? Terrible hitter still in Seattle. I didn't like it because of the location. Anyone else would have traded for him, I'd have been good with it. I just don't like the fit there. And we're seeing why. He cannot hit in Seattle, apparently.
Regardless, I think the Mariners are my dream World Series matchup right now. I think is the Padres and the Mariners, and it's been a two teams that I've been hoping are going to be doing good for probably 10 years now. And I still don't believe either of them have. The Padres have played in World Series, but neither of them have played in World Series in my lifetime. So
Oh, gosh, don't say stuff like that.
I believe 1998 was the last time the Padres were in the World Series.
Stop being so young. That's unacceptable. I thought you were going to say, like, in the 80s or something. At least throw it a little ways back. No, 98? Shut your mouth.
Off the
That's
top of my
not-
head, I think it was 84 against the Tigers and 98 against the Yankees and lost both of them. But yeah, I like the Mariners. Did I just say the Mariners were going to go to the World Series? I don't agree
No,
with
you
that.
didn't.
Okay, I was say I might have just
It
been
was 98.
okay. I might have just been talking without thinking if I said the
No,
Mariners.
you did not.
The Mariners. I said it's my dream World Series scenario.
Yes.
And I think they can. I don't know if I'd put my money on it, but I think if they're hitting like they have been, if they can get a couple more runners on base for these home runs, and Cal Raleigh can, keep on this pace that he's had the whole year, the rest of the year, and through the playoffs, I really do like the Mariners, and I wouldn't be shocked if the Mariners end up passing the Astros, and they might end up winning a playoff series.
Yeah, I like a lot about, like, if we look at this from just straight playoffs, what are things that win in the playoffs? Pitching, and their starting pitching is possibly the best in baseball. I love that rotation. It is so good. And a lot of times in the playoffs, there are these low scoring games where if somebody can hit one out, that's going to be the difference in the game. And they've got like 4 or 5 dudes that can just hit one out at any time. They might strike out every other at bat, and there might not be anyone on base, but they might hit 3 solos a game and win 3-2. Like that's a very real scenario for Seattle, and a lot of times that'll win you a playoff game. My only concern with them, one, I wish the back end of their rotation or bullpen was a little bit better, and which it's not bad. I just wish it was a little bit better. And I worry about this team's defense. I don't think it's great. You picked up Suarez, you picked up Naylor because you needed bats, but that defense isn't great there. So if they're playing a team that isn't hitting for a lot of power, that's just putting the ball in play and making you make plays on a consistent basis, I think they're going to have some errors there that could come back to haunt them. So really my questions with them, outside of they've never been to a World Series and they seem to find ways to choke, is defense and back of the bullpen.
Yeah, and even the back in the bullpen, like Andres Munoz is a good closer.
Okay, I
Matt
shouldn't say
Brash is
back.
a good setup man.
I shouldn't say back end of the
The
bullpen.
depth
I
of
should
their
be
bullpen.
bridging the gap to the back end of the bullpen.
Yeah.
So it's another situation where you're like, hey, can these starters get me 7 innings? Because I think 4 of them are capable of doing that. And if they can, you don't have to worry about bridging the gap because you're already there at the back of the bullpen.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, I like the Mariners,
I'm
and
rooting
I
for
hope
them.
they do. I know you do too, and I hope they do something in the playoffs. Um, the Boston Red Sox are next. They are currently the second wild card team. They are
I
a
have a,
game and
I have a question for you.
yeah.
You know Cardinals history like me,
Mm.
and as a Cardinals fan, I need you to tell me why I'm rooting for the Red Sox right now. There's just something about them that I really like, and I don't know why.
Is it
Like,
because we keep playing them in the World Series and they keep beating us?
no, that's a reason to hate them, and I'm rooting for them. Like, I don't know what it is. I think it's these young guys coming up and playing well. I like their outfield. I think they play exciting baseball. Like, it might be my favorite. I'm not gonna lie to you. I just started a MLB The Show franchise with the Red Sox, so I'm like, man, I really like that outfield. Man, I really like these young guys coming up. There's just something about them that I think is exciting that I really like. And honestly, this is a team that if they can figure out some young pitching to incorporate to this lineup, I think this is going to be a scary team for years and years to come. Like that outfield with Roman Anthony and Sedene Rafaela and Jaron Duran, like that's a really fun outfield. And I really like it. And then you have to talk about Marcelo Meyer and Christian Campbell coming up at some point. Maybe they'll be here September call ups. Like we don't know yet, but there's just a lot about this team that's been pretty exciting. And then to put Alex Bregman, who's raking, hitting almost 300 and almost 1,000 OPS, like this is a fun team to watch, and I'm not a huge Bregman fan. I'm not a huge fan of any of the Astros on that team, but I still kind of like the chip on the back of Alex Bregman back from the college days a little bit there. So I kind of root for him just a little bit. But there's just, and obviously I like Dustin May a lot more than you, and he's been shoving since he went outside of his first start. He's looked good since he went over to Boston. Maybe they figured something out that LA couldn't, but I don't know what it is, but it's weird for me as a Cardinals fan to be rooting for the Red Sox like I am right now.
Yeah, and we already talked about the Red Sox last two series. Like they lost the series against the Padres, they lost the series against the Astros. They're 2-4 over the past week, and they're a game and a half ahead of the third wild card spot. But we've also talked about in previous episodes about the fact that we do like I like the Red Sox too, and you know in terms of Marcelo Meyer, he has a short term injury right now. He'll be back soon. I'm sure they're going to call Christian Campbell back up, decently soon. They have Ceden Rafaela playing second base right now.
That's
Uh,
weird. He should be out in center.
well, he's a middle infielder slash outfielder, and they also have Roman Anthony, Jaron Duran, and Wilyer Abreu in the outfield.
No,
Which
I forgot they have Willie
Wilyer
Abreu
Abreu is a
also.
Gold Glover, and he didn't
I was
even.
like, Willie Abreu can hang in right field, and you can put him in center if you want. And Roman Anthony can kind of run. Like Jared Durant, like all of those are capable of. Like every single one of those four guys that we just mentioned are all capable of playing center field. Like they're all good defenders.
Yeah, and I don't know what is necessarily going to happen when Christian Campbell gets called back up in terms of where everyone's going to play. I personally think it might be a good idea to start thinking about taking away playing time from Trevor Story, and having Rafaela play shortstop. But Story hasn't been awful this year. He just hasn't been what you're paying for. Um, but the Red Sox have all the pieces that you think about whenever you think about what makes a good playoff team. They have Garrett Crochet, who is competing, probably not going to win the Cy Young, but is competing for a Cy Young. Uh, Bayo's a pretty good pitcher, a good young pitcher, and then Giolito, May, and Bueller. They're all kind of up and down, but they're nice complementary pieces in a playoff push. They have Jordan Hicks and Garrett Whitlock, and now they have Steven Matz in the back end of the bullpen to bridge towards Aroldis Chapman. Carlos Narvaez has been great. They have everything except for a first baseman, because the fact that Abraham Toro is playing first base for this team
Yeah,
right now.
it's a black hole over there. That's
Um,
rough.
I really wish Tristan Cassis didn't get hurt, and I really wish Rafael Devers
Would have
would
played
have just
first.
played first base, because this
This team
team
would be nasty.
better. Um, but even though they haven't been good, I do agree with you. I love this team. I love the fact they have these young guys that they're trying to get playing time as much as they can. Obviously, Christian Campbell's first stint in the big leagues wasn't great. He's also
It sounds
22 years old.
Yeah, it sounds like Marcelo Myers might be done for the year. They're kind of wishy-washy on it and not telling us a whole lot. So it seems like
Oh, I
maybe
haven't seen that.
it sounds like maybe his injury's a little worse than originally thought, and I'm not sure if he'll be back. But like, if Christian Campbell comes back, if Marcelo Myers comes back, like, what do you do in that situation? Are you moving Bregman?
Like I said, I think the best spot is to take playing time away from Trevor Story, but
I know, but where
or
are you putting everybody?
Rafaela at short, Campbell at second, keep the outfield the same with Yoshida
Who's
at the
playing?
DH,
Who's playing third?
Bregman,
Who's
and I
are you not
guess just
playing
keep
Meyer?
going with Abraham Torres, huh?
Are you not playing Meyer?
Well, if Meyer comes back, that's a whole different issue. I'm looking at this as if
Yeah.
Marcelo Meyer is done for the
I
year.
mean, I'm looking at it like if everybody comes back, I'm like, can one of those guys handle first base just for
um,
the short term?
well, Christian Campbell tried and it didn't look good. Uh, Someone needs to DH, and you probably take time away from Masataka Yoshida. I don't
As
know
I
who
think you
DH
should.
is. I legitimately don't know who DH is because everyone here is good defenders.
Yeah.
Um, Willier's not a bat that you want to DH, and he's not a glove you want to DH.
No.
Um, and you want to get all these. I guess Roman Anthony DHs
Maybe. Yeah.
or Marcelo Meyer
Possible.
does. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, I'll deal with that when everyone comes back. But
Yeah. It might be next year. So,
yeah,
and
which
if Bregman
Alex
opts
Bregman might
out,
not be there then.
yeah, and if Bregman opts out, that's another
I
conversation
hope
if
he's
we have.
still there because I think this was a really good fit, regardless
Yeah.
of all the drama that it led up to. But
He's been awesome. But again, if you have, I mean, I'm not a baseball player. I am not a multi-millionaire. But how do you opt out of a contract when the last 2 years of it are 40 and $45 million?
um, if he thinks he's getting a longer term deal
That's a lot.
with more guaranteed money,
$95 million is a lot to turn down for 2 years.
I don't think he does. I don't
Or
know if he does
87
opt
million.
out or not, but
I think earlier in the year we might have considered it, but I think with how this team has turned around and how they look now, I think it's a different story, and he ends up staying. Not a different Trevor story because he's been bad. So
yeah. Um, all right, let's talk about the New York Yankees.
trash, along with the
Yeah,
Mets.
trash next. No, they're 64 and 57, third wild card spot, and they're actually 3-3 in their last. Brewers just won their
Hey,
13th.
look, they found a way to win. Well,
Uh,
they're beating the Cardinals right now, so that's not a surprise.
their bullpen just started coming in the game though, so we'll see how that.
Oh, we have a chance.
Yeah,
Please put Devin Williams in the game.
yeah, they lost the series against the Astros, and Devin Williams was a big part of that, and Camilo Doval was also a big part of that.
Ooh, that's not good.
Uh, they won the series against the Twins though, because
But
their
again,
offense
minor
just
league baseball team.
yeah, and their offense just didn't give them a chance to lose the game really. Although they
I
did
mean,
end up finding a way to lose the third game because it was a pitching duel between Joe Ryan and Cam Schlitter, and then De Los Santos, who I'm blanking even on what his first name is, ended up blowing it. So the bullpen blew it again. The bullpen is in bad shape right now, and
I don't think he pitched in that game.
in Game 3 of the Twin series,
No. He didn't, but I don't know where these other 3 runs came from. It looks like maybe they were unearned. They only had 3 pitchers: Joe Ryan, Koty Funderburk, and
you're looking
Justin
at
Topa.
you're looking at the Twins.
Oh, okay.
De Los
That's the
Santos on
game
the
that they blew.
Yankees.
Yeah. Okay. Yeri De Los Santos.
Yeri De Los Santos, that's it.
Sorry.
Yeah, What
struggling
do
to
the
not.
Yankees do about this bullpen? Because everything else is fine. Like legitimately, everything else is fine for them. Question their rotation without Garrett Cole. Their pitching rotation has been fine though. Their
Well,
offense has been fine.
in
The
that
special
last
plan
game
drives.
against in that last game against Minnesota, Mark Leiter looked good. Devin Williams looked good for the first time in a long time. Even Camilla Doval looked good in that game. Um, I don't know. Like it's like how do you want to compare this? Like, do we want to go Forrest Gump here? Life's like a box of chocolates. You don't know what you're gonna get. You want to go Harry Potter? Birdie Bots every flavor beans. You just don't know what you're gonna pull out of there. Like it's ugly. Some days it's dominant, and some days they can't get a third of an inning out of these guys that should be closers. I just don't. I don't know. Like as someone talking about sports, you don't ever want to say I don't know. But with this team and even the Mets, like I don't know what this bullpen is. Like it should be one of the best bullpens in baseball for both New York teams, and they have been the worst bullpens in baseball since the trade deadline. Like I don't legitimately don't know what you're going to get every night. And you kind of at this point, if you're a Yankees or a Mets fans, you just expect it to blow up when they go to them, and then when it doesn't, you're surprised.
Yeah, and
But I don't know how you turn it around.
yeah, Devin Williams has been bad. Camilo Doval has been, I think, fine for the most part, but it's been up and down. David Bednar, I think he had maybe had one bad game, but outside of that, he's been
Yeah,
pretty
that
good.
first game,
And Jake Bird, like I said, he played one game, got sent down, and he's been getting shelled in AAA too right now.
bad.
Which I never thought I'd see a guy go. I mean, I guess when you've been used to pitching in Colorado and you go somewhere else, it is weird, but
You should get better.
yeah, but he's been so used to pitching a certain way to make him like halfway passable in Colorado, and now it doesn't work as well with lower altitude. It's weird, but yeah, the Yankees. It's been a thing with these big market teams have been doing a lot, and they've been struggling lately, like down the stretch, like the Dodgers, the Mets, the Yankees, and I think with the Dodgers and with the Mets, you can look at it and say, okay, I can see this getting better. But you need to rely on Devin Williams, and Devin Williams has been horrible all year,
You can't rely on him.
and you can't rely on him. And you hope David Bednar continues to be how he does or how he's been, and you hope Camilo Doval can figure out the consistency aspect of it, and you hope they have something that they can dream on in the back end of this rotation or in the back end of this bullpen. But it's just been bad, and I can't even say anything about the offense or the pitching stat or the offense or the pitching rotation because it's been fine. But
I think if I'm the Yankees and I'm running that organization, um, I think that Devin Williams has a phantom injury and goes on the IL for 10 days. And you just shut him down, reset, or if you feel like you need to work on some pitching mechanics or something, send him to your spring training facility and let him get away from the game and just do a complete hard reset. Um, because clearly he's not pitching through it because this has been all season long.
yeah, and I'm gonna transition in this next team too because with the Mets, I was a lot more confident about them being able to hold off the Reds. I don't
Who
feel that
just
way about the
lost, by the
Yankees
way.
holding off the Guardians. You said what?
Seattle just beat the Mets.
Yeah.
Just went final.
I expected that though.
It
But
was
I don't.
11-9. It was a shootout.
I don't see the Mets being able to hold off the Guardians because the Yankees being able to hold off the Guardians because the Guardians have been hot. Right now
They've
they're
been hot.
62. They're 62 and 57, one game back, 4-2 over the past week. Took 2 out of 3. Granted, they played the White Sox and the Marlins, but
Hey, don't sleep on the Marlins. They've been all right.
yeah, Kyle Manzardo has been losing his mind lately. Uh, Jose Ramirez has been really good. I mean, Stephen Kwan, Gabriel Arias, both have had their hits. Game one was a super fun game against the White Sox because Carlos Santana and CJ Kayfus combined for 7 RBIs and no one hit a home run, but they had 5 doubles. Um,
Hey,
and they
I,
scored
I
7 of their 9 runs.
I want to play a fun guessing game real quick. It's called Which of the Mets relievers got the loss in tonight's game?
Um, Ryan Helsley's been doing it a lot, so I'm not going to say him. Is it whatever Rogers is over there?
You should have stuck with your first guess.
Was it Ryan Helsley?
Ryan Helsley got another
Oh my
loss,
gosh. Well, they're
and
they're pitching him every day. Why are they?
because they're dumb. And Munoz got another save. His ERA is down to 1.31.
That'll play in the playoffs.
That'll play
Uh,
for sure.
yeah. When it
Cal
comes
Rowley, 3 for 5, baby.
bringing that batting average up for the people that care about that for some reason,
Yeah,
um,
with a home run.
and bringing that OPS up, which I care about. Um,
Hey, he's up to
yeah,
946 OPS. A little dyslexic with numbers today. 946 OPS, but he's only batting 246. That's insane.
yeah. Um, but yeah, I look at the Guardians. Their rotation's awesome. I mean, it's not necessarily what you think of whenever you think of the Guardians rotations over the past few years. I mean, they
I think
traded.
this is I think this is one of the most underrated starting pitching rotations in baseball. Like none of the names are big name guys, but they're all good. Like if people who are baseball fans that consistently watch more than just their team, hit or miss, or even their team regularly, but is an NL team or not an AL Central team, like that, they've got some good. Like I like that rotation.
Yeah, I mean Tanner Bybee and Gavin Williams are a great one-two.
Great.
Logan Allen has been pretty good, and even the guys in the back end that you wouldn't expect, like Slade Ciccone, was not pitching well when he was with the Diamondbacks in the big leagues or in AAA. Really, I don't think. He comes over in that Josh Naylor trade, and he's been fine. He has a 4.11 ERA, a 5-5 record. And then Joey Cantillo, who, he had that blow up game in the playoffs this past postseason against the Yankees. He's in their rotation now, and he's been really good in the back end. Um, I really like Cade Smith. I wish he wasn't their closer right now, but this is just where the Guardians are. Maybe don't
I mean,
bet
I
on
don't think they
baseball. And
expected to compete. Like, this isn't a team that bought. They kind of stood pat and sold off a couple of pieces. Like, their moves were to sell Shane Bieber and Josh Naylor. Like, those were their transactions for the trade deadline. So this was a team that was kind of like, we'll sell off a couple of pieces, and we'll just kind of stand pat and you know build for next year. We'll keep Stephen Kwan and hope that either A, we can trade him in the off season for a giant haul, or we just keep him and we're a good team again. And they've been good. They've been really good. And I
yeah,
think, like you said, I think Gavin Williams and Bybee are two of the most underrated pitchers because the AL Central doesn't get a lot of love. It's not one of the better divisions in baseball, and none of those teams are big market teams that people pay a ton of attention to. So I think they get overlooked a lot, and you know that's a fun name. I always want to call him BB, and it makes me laugh a little bit. But
I think I have
he's
two
a great pitcher.
different spell check pronunciation or two different spell check errors that my computer gave me whenever I was typing him out. One of them it auto corrected to Bible.
Nice.
The other one it corrected for some reason to Bibbe, or maybe I mistyped that, but I have him on my notes twice, and neither one of them are correct. So you gotta love that.
It
Um,
makes me
but
think. I don't know if you're old enough for this, which makes me sad. Were you ever? Do you remember the Butterfinger BBs? Were you alive for those? Oh
I don't know if
man,
I was
those were
alive for him, but I don't remember them.
oh, those things. I just remember the commercials for it, and they made me laugh. I'm pretty sure Bart Simpson did them, and they were just like they were Butterfingers, but they were BBs, so they were like little circle balls that were just Butterfingers. Like it had the Butterfinger filling in the middle with chocolate around the outside.
That
And
sounds
every
like
time I,
a '90s thing.
100%, and every time I see his name, I go Tanner BB, and I think Butterfinger BBs every single time, and it makes me laugh. I gotta look these up now because it's gonna kill me.
Yeah. But while you're doing that, I think this is kind of the where this season is going. That
Stupid
these
people.
these big market teams have been spending all this money and have been, really like a lot of teams have really been expecting to take over, have been struggling, and they've been losing out to a lot of these teams that are a lot smaller markets and really know how to develop their players. And what
I just felt really old.
what was it?
They were created in '92, and they haven't been on shelves since '06.
I was
If
alive.
you were alive for them, you just never would have eaten them. But also, it just shows how soft America is getting. They got taken off the shelves because they were a choking hazard. Toughen up.
Yeah, they were taken off shelves about a decade before I was born, or they were put on. They were created about a decade before I was born.
Yeah, shut up.
Uh,
2000, baby.
but yeah,
I
I
was
think that's
alive when they were created, so we're,
yeah.
we're old. I got it.
Um, but yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. Is these teams that know how to develop are really taking over this league, and the Yankees and the Mets and the Dodgers. Like the Dodgers, I wouldn't necessarily say are in as much trouble, but they've lost their division lead, and we're wondering right now if the Yankees and the Mets are even going to make the playoffs. And I'm wondering that a lot more about the Yankees because the Guardians can hit, they can pitch. You know, having a back end of the bullpen,
Matters.
having a good closer would really help them. I wonder where they could have gotten that uh, from the casino probably. Uh, but it wasn't a casino. It was these sports betting apps.
Yeah.
Uh, but but you get my drift. Um,
Yeah.
so like it really sucks. I think that might be the reason why they can't go on a playoff run. But I you know I don't know how the Yankees overcome this. Like I am afraid. I'm afraid they might, even if they do figure out their pitching staff issues, they do it too late.
Yeah. I don't know. I've said it a lot of times. I don't like teams that buy teams and just stick a pieces together. Um, I don't like the roster construction of the Yankees. I think they've got a lot of flaws. I don't think they have an amazing farm system. Um, Aaron Judge isn't getting any younger, and he's basically carried that team for multiple years now. Like when he's out, they can't win. I just I don't like this roster. And I don't know where they go from here. Like they have to have that back end figure it out, and they have to have Aaron Judge healthy. Like if they want to do anything.
By the way, Cody, the score is now 4-3.
Oh yeah, let's go. My phone's dead. I can't even
It's Luke
look.
Weaver this time.
Hey, there's an old blast from the past.
Oh no, I guess Camilo Doval put him on base, and then Luke Weaver let him score. Uh,
Either way, we'll take it.
but yeah, I mean, it even like as we're alive right now, it's showing the Yankees issues, and I'd love to see it because they're playing the Cardinals right now, and I love to see it because I like watching these big market teams fail. Um, but I don't know. I think the Yankees are in a tough state. I think the Mets are in a tough state. I think the Mets will be able to hold them off. Uh, I'm not that confident about the Yankees. So, Cody, I think that might be where we leave this thing off. Do you have any final thoughts on this?
Um, I think there's been a few teams that have made this stretch run of the last 40 games of the season to be a lot more interesting. I think the Mets and Yankees imploding and Cleveland getting hot, Cincinnati staying consistent. We didn't talk about other teams, but the Cardinals, as bad as they are, and as much as we make fun of our own team, like they're only 3.5 back at the moment of the Mets, who actually three now because the Mets just lost, and if they can pull this one out, we'll get to two and
We
a
might
half. Like,
we might be talking about them next week. We might be having
like,
to talk about the Texas Rangers or the Kansas City
and I
Royals.
was gonna say, and the Texas Rangers are 3.5 out. Like, and they have one of my favorite pitching rotations in all of. They probably do have my favorite pitching rotation in all of baseball, right up there with Seattle. Like, they can compete. So I think this last week and a half of teams losing that shouldn't be losing, and then the teams kept chasing them, playing just good enough to make this race tight is going to be a lot of fun down the stretch. So I'm excited to see where it goes. Only a month and a half more of Mo. That's my final thoughts. Uh-oh, I can't hear you. You're muted.
Yeah. Uh, Not an issue like we had last week.
No,
I
thank
said that
goodness.
it could have been 4-4. They stranded Victor Scott on third. Um, but yeah, that's where we're gonna end this for this episode. I want to thank you guys for watching. If you like our content, or even if you don't, please comment, subscribe. I haven't begged at all this episode, so I have to do my begging now. Um,
Even if you hate our content,
even
please
if you
like
hate our
it for
content,
us.
yeah.
What? That's terrible.
if you think if you think Aaron Judge deserves to win MVP, like, comment, and subscribe, and tell us
Start an
how wrong
argument
we
with me.
are.
I'll argue with you. It'll be from my personal account though, so we'll
Yeah.
have a blast.
And then on Spotify, what do? They subscribe to the podcast there.
Follow,
They follow,
follow it. Yep,
follow it,
follow it
like it, give
so
us a
that you
5-star
get.
review, do all that stuff.
Yeah, if you
Um,
follow it, it'll post whenever we put up a new one. It'll show up in your little queue of things of the ones that you have saved that you're following. It'll show the newest episodes. So follow us. Write a review if you'd like to. Tell us how terrible we are. That's okay.
yeah.
We'll take anything.
All publicity is good publicity. Is that what they?
Yeah, that's
But not the
right.
ratings. Only rate us five
Yeah,
stars.
yeah, yeah. Like ask Jerry Jones. All publicity is good publicity.
Yeah.
Also,
Um.
if you're not watching on YouTube, you should because you can't see this sick Jurassic Park Raptor shirt I'm wearing. So you're missing out. Go
Yeah.
watch it on YouTube.
Um. Yeah. Like I said, if you guys feel so inclined, stick with us because I talk all the time about how bad we are at this and how we're getting better. We're I do think we are getting better, and the content's gonna be a lot better. We're gonna end up making a lot higher quality content as we go. We're talking about things that's gonna make the content better for the future, for the present. Thinking about making some changes, maybe adding some new hosts. We'll see. Um,
And then sometimes we'll go off the rail like I did today, and who knows what will happen. So
yeah,
join the fun.
yeah. Regardless of what the content looks like, we're still gonna have fun with it, and we hope you guys do too. So thank you guys for watching. And like I said, tomorrow, at hopefully as soon as early as possible, but at some point before the fights, the main card starts, we are going to have an episode out with Aaron, and we're going to talk about UFC 319, between Dricus Duplessis and Hamzat Shemaev, and it's going to be a good fight. So I'm excited to watch it. Especially, I'll be excited, a lot more excited to watch it in 2026 when there's no pay per views. Um,
Let's go.
yeah. So yeah, like I said, thank you guys for watching, and we will see you guys next time.
Peace.